To talk in English. Is everybody understanding English?
Yeah.
Yeah. You? Okay. One day we will speak in French, in Radha Parisisvara.
Yeah.
Oh, you can say with me. Om Matkana Timilam Dasya Vyanam Shanam Shadakaya Shaksun Militam Yenam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namah Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Kachalini Nirvisesa Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatalini Chayo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasari Gaura Vrindavan Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Shakatpataruyasha Kripa Sindhuya Evacha Patitanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So, dear devotee, I just want to express my gratitude to be with all of you, and my joy every time I come. The temple is more and more ecstatic, and surely Srila Prabhupada and the Lordships are extremely pleased with all your enthusiasm to help to spread the mission. Haribol, Haribol. So today we are reading Srimad Bhagavatam, 8th Canto, 22nd chapter, verse 33. First, I would like to share with you an invocation by Sanatana Goswami about the Srimad Bhagavatam. So it goes like that. O Srimad Bhagavatam, O nectar, churned from the ocean of all the Vedic scriptures, O most prominent, transcendental fruits of all the Vedas, O you who are enriched with the jewels of all spiritual, philosophical conclusions, O you who grant spiritual vision to all the people of the world, O life breath of the Vaishnava devotees. O Lord, you are the sun which has arisen to dispel the darkness of the Kali Yuga. You are actually Lord Krishna, who has returned among us. O Srimad Bhagavatam, I offer respectful obeisances unto you. By reading you, one attains transcendental bliss. For your syllables rain pure love of God upon the reader. You are always to be served by everyone, for you are an incarnation of Lord Krishna. O Srimad Bhagavatam, O my only friend, O my companion, O my teacher, O my great wealth, O my deliverer, O my good fortune, O my bliss, I offer respectful obeisances unto you. O Srimad Bhagavatam, O giver of saintliness to the unsaintly, O uplifter of the very fallen, please do not ever leave me. Please become manifested upon my heart and my throat, accompanied by pure love of Krishna. So This is written by Srila Sanatana Goswami in Sri Krishna Lila Stava. And I find it very inspiring to remember who is actually Srimad Bhagavatam, the literary incarnation of Krishna, who just has appeared when Lord Krishna left the planet. And it says that Srimad Bhagavatam is more brilliant than thousands of suns, and then it will dissipate all the darkness of Kali Yuga. Hare Bol, glory to Srimad Bhagavatam. So together we can say the two auspicious verses in Narayanam Namaskrityam
Naram Cheva Narottamam Devim Saraswati Vyasa Tato Jayamudinayet Nasaya Shvabhaishu Nityam Bhagavate Sivaya Bhagavati Utama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtaki.
So, Sanskrit. Indrasina Maharaja Yahibo Badaram Astuti Sutaram Svargibil Pratiyam Gyatibil Parivaritaha Indrasena Maharaja Yahibo Paradamastute Sutaram Svagibil Pratyam Gyatibil Parivaritaha.
Indrasena Maharaja Yahi Bhobhadramastute Sutalam Swargabhi Pratyam Gyatibhi Parivarita
Indrasena Maharaja Yahi Bhobhadramastute Sutalam Swagibhi Pratyam Jnanadibhi Parivartata.
Indrasena Maharaja Yahi Bhobhadramastute Sutalam Svargibhi Pratyam Gyatibhi Parivaritaha.
Vaishnavis. Indrasena Maharaja Yahi Bhobhadramastute
Sutalam Svargibhi Pratyam
Gyatibhi Parivaritaha. Word for word. Indrasena O Maharashvali. Maharaj, O King, Yahi, to go. Boho, O King, Badaram, all auspiciousness. Astu, let there be. Te, unto you. Sutaram, in the planet known as Sutara. Svagibhi here by the demigods. Radhityam, desirable. Gyatibir, by your family members. Parivaritaha, surrendered. Translation, Srila Prabhupada. Oh, Bali Maharaj, Indrasena, now you may go to the planet Sutala, which is deside even by the demigods Live there peacefully, surrounded by your friends and relatives. All good fortune unto you. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Bali Maharaj was transferred from the heavenly planets to the planet Sutala, which is hundreds of times better than heaven. As indicated by the words Svagibir Pradityam, when the Supreme Personality of Godhead deprives his devotee of material opulences, this does not mean that the Lord puts him into poverty. Rather, the Lord promotes him to the highest position. The Supreme Personality of Godhead did not ask Bali Maharaj to separate from his family. Instead, the Lord allowed him to stay with his family members. Radha Parisisvara Mandir. So, dear devotees, we can read the Sanskrit again. Indrasena Maharaja Yahibo Badramashtute Sutaram Svagibir Praityam Kyatibil Parivaritaha. So that verse and Srila Prabhupada's purport are actually very, very interesting. We can see in this material world that life, even the devotee life, is not like we say in French. Everybody speaks French? No. Like we say in French, life is not like a long still river. Meaning, la vie n'est pas comme un long fleuve tranquille. It's even as devotee, in the beginning, when we first hear about Krishna, when we first chant the Hare Krishna mantra, we get a strong taste. And everything seems so easy. Immediately we become uplifted from the miseries of this material world. Krishna has actually attracted us, an association of devotees reading Srila Prabhupada books is very, very powerful. But after some time, when we start practicing, the anartha actually are coming up. It's like cooking ghee. Who else already made ghee for the Lord? So you know how it works. All the impurities are coming up to the surface. And we have two choices. We can stir and the impurities will remain, or we can wait for the impurities to come up, and then when it becomes a crust, it's very easy to remove them. So we shouldn't expect that life as a devotee, as a preacher, as a book distributor, as a pujari, even when we give all our life to Krishna, we cannot expect it won't be any difficulties, any challenges. And we can see in the case of Bali Maharaj, Bali Maharaj was actually born in the family of demons. He was the great son of Prahlad Maharaj, wasn't he? And he was so powerful that he actually went and he took the place of Indra. He was actually ruling the heavenly planets. But then he got into big difficulty when the beautiful Lord appeared as Vamanadev. Vamanadev was so beautiful. He was little Brahmana dwarf. And Bali Maharaj couldn't refuse him anything. Although his spiritual master told him, don't actually agree to give him anything, he will take everything from you. But Bali Maharaj was already captivated, first by his promise to a Brahmana and by the wonderful Vamanadev. And when Vamanadev asked him to give him 3 steps of land, Bali Maharaj agreed. And he said, just 3 steps of land, I can give you so much more. Please ask more. But Lord Vamanadev just said, no, just 3 steps of land. And we all know how he assumed a gigantic form as 3 Vikram. 3 means 3. And he took his 3 steps of land. We know that the first steps covered all the material universe, the second one, all the spiritual universe. And just asked, where shall I put my 3rd step? You're cheating me. Where shall I put my 3rd step? And then Bali Maharaj became a Mahajan. He said, my Lord, put it on my head. And he actually incarnated full surrender. That's how he became one of our greatest authority, a Mahajan. So he lost everything. He lost all opulences. He lost himself because he surrendered his life, his body, his mind, his thoughts, his actions. So what, dear devotees, do you think the Lord God is ungrateful? Or do you think he wants to punish us? What do you think? By doing things like that? Yes, Prabhuji.
He wants to help. He wants what's good for us. He wants to help us to surrender to.
Yes, yeah. And unfortunately, even in our movement, I have some God sisters, God brothers who went through very, very heavy challenges, and they couldn't pass the test of the difficulties. They were very knowledgeable in philosophy, but they thought, well, why is Krishna actually doing that to me? I gave my best years to Krishna. Why is this happening to me? And they either doubted the existence of Krishna, or they became very angry at Krishna. So it means we have to pass a test, because each difficulty contains an opportunity. And we can, I don't know if we will have time, because we just have half an hour, but so many great devotees, Srila Prabhupada first went through so many difficulties before Krishna blessed them with wonderful miracles. So we can read something Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said. He's quoting Krishna. Krishna says, I have arranged so many misery, so much pain, trouble and danger, not to make you suffer, but to teach you that all this misery is unnecessary. So you will search for that happiness, which is eternally desirable, for that joy that is eternally adorable. So all these difficulties, misery, are meant for us to understand that we don't belong to this world. And then, although in association of devotees, by reading the Srimad Bhagavatam, we will taste spiritual joy by chanting more purely the holy name. But Prabhupada said that this world is actually not fit for any gentleman or any lady. You remember that beautiful verse of Srila Rupa Goswami saying, if you're still attached to society, family, love, please don't look at this beautiful bluish boy who is playing his flute on the bank of the river Yamuna. because you will have a lot of surprise. So, the Lord, for the devotee loves, He doesn't want to grant opulences that we found in the heavenly planets, or on earth, or anywhere else. Because these opulences, when it's not used for the service of Krishna, will just lead to hatred, anxiety, mental disturbances, pride, suffering, and exhaustion. We have no choice when this difficulty comes. Either they come because of our past life, or else they come to help us, as Prabhu said, to progress in spiritual life. You know Radha Swami, all of you. He came in Paris last year. So he often says that we don't want to be good weather devotees. For example, you know, we can go to the south of France, and most of the time there is very good weather. Or we can go, you know, in Paris or New Mayapur, it's a lot of rain in winter, it's a lot of mud. So we want to be devotees who will be serving happily the Lord in all kinds of weathers. In good time or in good weather, we will take some strength. And in bad time or bad weather, we will remember the good time. It will give us strength. And we know that good weather will come again. So we don't have choice regarding the difficulties. They come. But we have one choice. What is that choice?
To serve Krishna.
Yes.
To have the desire to serve.
Yes. Yeah.
To see the difficulty as mercy.
Yes. Yeah. We have the choice how we are going to react in front of this difficulty. That's our choice. And by that way, we can pass the test or we can fail the test. But it says in Srimad Bhagavatam that if we pass the test of keeping gratitude and faith at the time of difficulties, our ticket back home, back to Godhead is granted. Of course, we will go back home, back to Godhead. Of course, the choice is ours. When will we go back home, back to Godhead? It's like if we take a flight, a plane, world tour ticket, we have the choice to go directly to the destination. We have the choice to make a lot of stopover. So it's our choice. But we have the ticket. So Prabhupada wrote a beautiful letter in 1968 to Satsvarup Maharaj. He said, he said, we must recognize that putting our lives in the hands of Krishna does not necessarily put us completely out of trouble. On the contrary, the life of a preacher is full of troubles. Remember Haridas Thakur, even our devotees when they preach. Last year we had Prabhu Vishnu, Prabhu, Bhakti Maharaj. They went to Russia. They got arrested 10 days and deported. So when we serve Krishna very, very sincerely, it doesn't mean we are out of trouble, because we are actually declaring a war to Maya, to the illusory nature. So Prabhupada says, it doesn't put us completely out of trouble, but it does free us from despair. Our problem is not misfortune, it's not trouble, it is despair, when we become discouraged, when we become hopeless. In other words, Prabhupada said, our problem is not the trouble themselves, it's inevitable in this material world, but it is our reaction to the trouble. So he says to encourage us, so long as every one of us is strong in Krishna consciousness, there is no doubt that you can fly to the spiritual sky and we can meet together without failure. Somebody asked Srila Prabhupada, are we going to recognize you in the spiritual world? Prabhupada said yes. And he says more than that, you're going to recognize each other. So we will be again serving all together in the big family of Krishna consciousness with Prabhupada and our spiritual masters as our guides, you know. So let's see. I will make a choice. I have so much evidence in the Shastra how we should face difficulties. Again, Srila Prabhupada says to the preachers, do not give up devotional service, even if there are innumerable difficulties, countless insults, and endless harassment. When a devotee from Srimad Bhagavatam is put into hellish conditions, he accepts them as Krishna's mercy. And the tate nukampam susamikshmanaha. He does not protest. He doesn't say, oh, I'm such a great devotee. Why have I been put in such misery? Instead, he thinks, oh, this is Krishna's mercy. Such an attitude is possible for a devotee who engages in the service of Krishna's representative. This is the success, the secret of success. So we have the secret to reach perfection, to go back to Godhead. Yeah. So, time is rushing. It's a whole seminar, actually, that subject. I want to get out of difficulties when difficulties come, because they will come. Yes, yes.
If we think about Krishna, we overcome all difficulty.
Yes. Anybody else? Yeah.
We seek shelter of devotees. We ask advice, like senior devotees or our
Yes.
spiritual master.
Yes.
What can I do in this case?
Yeah. So I'm going to quickly to tell you two philosophical stories. First will be when there is difficulty. We have to. There will be some emotion, you know. It will be some misunderstanding. But first we should use our intelligence to see how to get with our intelligence out of the difficulties. And it will be this intelligence will be sent by Krishna. And to illustrate that, there is the story of the wise ass. The donkey. You know the story? Anybody knows? Okay. So, one time, one farmer had a very old ass. The old ass had been serving all his life. Sorry, coming from India, the cold is catching me. So one day, the old ass was walking in the field, and he fell into an old well, dry well. And he tried to come out, but it was very deep, and he just couldn't come out. So he started to call the farmer. And the farmer first was thinking how to get him out. But then he started to think, actually this ass is very old. He's useless. So I'm just going to let him die in the well. And I'm going to ask my friend, the other farmers, to actually put earth and sand so nobody will fall in this well again. So the ass was screaming and screaming. And then he understood, my master is actually very ungrateful. He has no gratitude for all my service. He's going to let me die. And he started to feel the sand falling on him. Then he realized, I have to find a solution. So when the sand was falling, with his hooves, he started to, how do you say, piétiner. How do you say? He started to walk on the earth. And more earth and more sand was coming. He was walking, and then it was becoming like ground, and it was coming up and up and up. And all of a sudden, the farmers and his friends were very surprised. The old ass just came peacefully out of the well. So we have to try, when big difficulty come, we have to try to analyze them. Of course, as you say, to pray for the mercy of the Lord, to chant Hare Krishna, to associate with devotees, but not to become despair, discouraged, and hopeless. First, to let the emotion go, and then try to find if there is a way out. Every problem is actually a step towards success. So now there is another philosophical tale. It's the philosophical tale of the cup, teacup. And that will illustrate also the question, why all these miseries? So our actor in this philosophical tale, the first actor is a young man, and he has a hobby. Let's see if Krishna let me talk more. He has a special hobby. When he doesn't work, when he's on holidays, he goes to every country to visit some antique shops. And he especially likes very old antique teacups. He thinks, each teacup has a story and to tell. So one day he goes into a very dusty antique store in Serbia. And he's spotting on the shelf a very exceptional teacup. It has Turkish influences, very, very beautiful. So he's asking the proprietor, the owner of the shop, may I see that very beautiful teacup over there? So the owner is actually handing him the teacup. And suddenly, it's a philosophical tale, so suddenly the young man is hearing the teacup speaking. And the teacup is saying, you don't understand, I've not always been a teacup. There was a time when I had no idea what service meant. Because the teacup is doing service, we can pour herbal tea in it, offer it to Krishna and drink it. He said, the teacup says, at the time I was just a lump of clay, red clay, on the ground. Let me let me tell you my story. Maybe you will learn something from it. So it continued. I have lived there on the ground as a lump of clay for many, many, many thousands of years. I have witnessed war and peace, entire civilization rolled over me. But I was waiting. Waiting for what? I do not know. Then one day, my master came. He took me, he picked me up, and he took me to his home. And then he rolled me and pounded me on a wooden table, and with his finger until me, and finally I started to yell out, "Don't do that, leave me alone." But he only smiled, and he said very gently, and every time this word is going to come, you're going to repeat it with me. So the master is saying, not yet. Not yet. So the teacup became more and more alive as it spoke to the shocked young man. Then he said, "Boom!" And suddenly I was on a spinning wheel. And as I was turning around, I lost all sense of direction. It was awful. And I was yelling to my master, "Stop it. Can you see that I'm getting sick? Take me off the spinning wheel." But the master, very gently again, nodded in understanding and quietly said, "Not yet." He continued to bend me in and out of shape. And then he placed me into an oven. I never felt such heat before. And I yelled and I knocked and pounded at the door. It was hotter than hell. I'm burning to ashes. I'm screaming, "Please get me out of there before it's too late." I couldn't see my master. It was only a small hole with glass. But I could only read on his lips as he shook his head side to side. And he pronounced, "Not yet." So I thought I couldn't bear it anymore, that heat, but the door opened. He took me carefully, he placed me on a shelf, and I began to cool. It felt so good after having been so hot. So he picked me up, he looked at me, he brushed some dust, and then he started to paint on colors and something transparent like glaze on me, and the fumes were horrible. I thought I was going to die again. And again I said, "Stop it, stop it." But again he shook his head and he said, "Not yet, you're not ready yet." And very, very quickly he put me back into another oven. But dear friends, that oven was so hot, maybe 10 times hotter than the other one. And that time I thought, that is my death. I'm going to die. And I begged, I pleaded, I threatened, I screamed. Finally, I cried. I wanted to cry, but there were no tears coming. And I begged. I told him, "I'm going to faint. I'm going to die. Take me out." Then the door opened. He took me. He put me again on a shelf, the same as before. And I was again left to cool. And I waited and I waited and I waited. What was going to happen next? About an hour later, my master came. He had a mirror. And he placed the mirror before me. And he said, look at yourself. And I did. And I was so amazed of looking at the mirror of what I was seeing. And I told him, that's not me. It cannot be me. It's too beautiful. And my master explained. He was very, very compassionate. His voice was very soft when he spoke. Actually, what you're looking at the mirror is what you were supposed to be. I know I hurt you when I put you on the table and when I pounded you. I know you felt you lost all sense of orientation when I put you on the spinning wheel. But if I didn't pounded you, the air wouldn't have come out of you and you would have been broken. If I didn't spin you, you wouldn't have any forms in your life. And I know the fumes of the colors and the glass were awful, but if I didn't put them on you, you wouldn't have had any colors in your life. And I know the worst was actually when I put you in the oven. That was worse than death. But I did that for your own good. Because if I didn't put you in the two ovens, when life would present difficulties, you would have broken. So now, my dear Cap, you're a finished product. Then the teacup stops speaking. And the young man was so amazed, and he saw around the teacup some tears of gratitude. So he took the teacup home, and he used it only to offer nice drinks to Krishna. And then he became older. He had many, many difficulties in life. And when the difficulties came, he became so discouraged, and he wanted to scream at the Lord. He wanted to tell the Lord, why are you doing that to me? Why do you do that to me? Please stop it. I can't take it. But then he remembered the words of the teacup master saying,
Not yet.
not yet, you're not ready yet. And then he felt grateful. He knew that every difficulty was designed by the Lord to make him what he was meant to be. Actually a servant of the Lord and a servant of the Vaishnava. Like the potter, the Lord is our potter and we are his clay. And he will mold us. He will expose us to enough pressure, just the right kind, so we will become a perfect piece to his liking. We will become what we are meant to be, a true selfless servant of the Lord, of the spiritual master, and the Vaishnava, without any motivation. So that was the story of the teacup. And we can, when we have difficulties, we can remember, it's easy to remember stories. We can remember the story of the wise ass, wise donkey, and the story of the teacup. And the devotees, it's only 5 minutes left. So one day we can do a whole seminar on that. It's very beautiful. But in Srimad Bhagavatam, and amongst our wonderful association with devotees, we have seen so many great devotees who went to extreme difficulties. And because they actually felt grateful for these difficulties because they didn't become angry at the Lord and they didn't doubt the Lord's mercy. They reached perfection. Of course, the first one is Srila Prabhupada. He stayed with us 12 years on the planet. And he had so many difficulties. Starting, you know, when he took Vanaprastha, then on the Jaladuta ship, he almost died of 2 heart attacks. So many difficulties with all of us, all of his students, you know, who were so immature, so foolish. One day, I think it was in India, Prabhupada was giving a lecture and it was time for questions. And one nice Indian gentleman came up and he asked, Srila Prabhupada, how can I help you? And, you know, he thought it was a nice question to ask. Prabhupada looked at him very sternly. And there was a big silence and the man started to feel uncomfortable. So Prabhupada said, you want to help me? The man says, yes. You know, I have such a big movement to manage. And I have so many headaches. You want to help me? So you take some of my headaches. So it's not that because Prabhupada was a pure devotee, sent by Krishna to publish. Bhakti Maharaj was suffering so much physical pain because the cancer was on in the bones and no medication, no pain relievers can get to the bones. So his suffering cannot be described. But he would never cry. He was always praying and showing the followers and the whole movement how to face a terrible pain and death. And Maharaj Radhanath was reading, you know, Srimad Bhagavatam 10 Canto, but he could see the pain was too intense. Bhakti Swami couldn't concentrate. So he started to I don't know if he chanted or sang Hare Krishna. And then lots of tears came from Bhakti Tirtha's eyes. And these tears, they were actually tears of ecstasy. And Radha Swami, seeing the tears, says, do you want me to stop? He says, no, carry on. And he says that the hearing of Hare Krishna mantra had never been so sweet. And he said, I think the Prabhu yesterday was also mentioning that it happens to some devotees like that. He said, I will not exchange my place for anyone's place in the world. So, of course, we all know the story of the Pandavas who faced with Queen Draupadi, Queen Kunti, terrible hardships. But you remember Queen Kunti said, my dear Lord, may these difficulties come again and again so that we can see you again and again. So we are not, we don't need to pray like that because they will come automatically, the difficulties. You know, we are not on the level of praying like Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj or Queen Kunti. But we have to remember how they reacted in front of these difficulties, how they treasured this, and I speak for myself also, I'm not on that level, but we can see how these pure devotees treasured these difficulties. We also have the example of Gajendra, the elephant, who was King Indradyumna in his previous life. How he faced the terrible difficulties of being pulled in the water by that powerful crocodile. And first he tried with all his strength to get out, trying to use his intelligence. but it was not enough, because the crocodile was in its own element, the water. He could eat, he could, and the crocodile put gently Gajendra, but very firmly. So the crocodile is like Maya. Maya is actually putting us, apparently gently, but with a very firm grip. And somehow or other, if we, like Gajendra, if we try to find help from our fellow elephants, from the family, they cannot help. The family, the wives, they just cried, they're helpless. So it came to a point when Gajendra, the elephant, had no more strength. He couldn't do anything more. He was going to be defeated. But then, from his past life, as Indradyumna, King Indradyumna, he remembered beautiful prayers to glorify the Lord. And these beautiful prayers by Gajendra are in Srimad Bhagavatam. It's very good to read them during Kartik. We read them with our Russian tour during Kartik. It was very, very powerful, very beautiful. So then Gajendra understood it just has to surrender to Krishna. And everything came very beautifully. So we come back to our verse that Krishna is not a mean God, an angry God, that he wants to punish us. But it says, well, it says in the purport, and also it's described in the verse, that when Bali Maharaj lost everything, he didn't become homeless, he didn't become so poor and lonely, but the Lord gave him a planet that was described also in the class yesterday. So the planet, you remember the name of the planet? Sutala. It's 7 better than the heavenly planets. There is no anxiety for the mind or from the body, you know, and he was with the persons he loved, with his family. So when you pass the test, maybe you already have, some of you had some very terrible tests, and you passed it with gratitude, you probably have noticed how Krishna is giving so much. Like Prabhupada's father used to tell Abai, Prabhupada, if Krishna wants to take things from you, Krishna has thousands of hands, you have 2 hands, how much can you keep? But if Krishna wants to give to you, you only have 2 hands, how much can you take? So if we pass the test, Krishna is going to make miracles. We are going to become stronger and stronger in our spiritual life. Up to the point we will come to Guru and Krishna's lotus feet, to the point then where we will go back home, back to Godhead, to meet, to become our real self, what we're meant to be. So thank you very much, dear devotees. I'm very grateful and honored to have shared a few words with you. I hope you will remember in time of difficulties the story of the Tika and the wise ass. And I hope you will always face difficulty with gratitude and that your faith will improve. I know we are a little over. If somebody wants to share anything, you are welcome. If anybody has service or prasadam, please go.
One question.
Prabhuji.
What is you said destination. What is the final destination for Krishna devotee, Krishna consciousness?
Yes, our final destination is actually to go to Goloka Vrindavan, to Krishna's planet, and to carry on serving there, serving the Vaishnava. Everybody's a Vaishnava there, the trees a Vaishnava, the cows a Vaishnava. Everybody's serving Krishna. And that's our supreme destination. That's where we belong. And it's that beautiful planet where every word is a song, every step is a dance. And in that planet we will meet again, we will meet our dear Gurudev. But that's our final destination. So it might take some time. We may come again to preach, we don't know, to some material universe. But actually, our supreme destination is also at the lotus feet of our Gurudev and Prabhupada. That's the place that is safe. Hare Krishna, dear friends. Shall we stop here now? Hare Krishna, thank you so much. Hare Bol. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Prabhupada ki jai. Anantakoti, Vaishnavi ki jai.